Hello, everyone. My name is Rosa Luna, and I'm one of the students here at Boise State University. Today, I'm presenting to you a project titled Social Media and HIPAA Compliant Rules, along with examples of PHI violations. During my presentation, I will be speaking to you about how social media increases HIPAA violations. What are some examples of the violations? What's considered a HIPAA violation? What do you need to know about social media and HIPAA? What's the identified images in social media? What if my organization doesn't have a social media policy? What are the penalties for violating such policies? What's a HIPAA compliant social media policy, and who needs to be trained on social media policies and HIPAA? So, there are reports indicating an increase in HIPAA violations related to the use of social media. This is because more people nowadays have access to smartphones, and it's very easy to share information on the web. However, sharing information about patients' medical conditions or any information that disclose the patient's illness, it's not allowed, and it can have effects that devastating effects on employees as well as employers. HIPAA was created in 1996, and it was created long before the all the media platforms came upon. So some of the regulations do not apply through HIPAA. So how does social media increases the risk of HIPAA violations? So it's the risk is amplified with the accessibility of photo taking and uploading features in social media platforms. It is almost second nature to record events that are out of the ordinary and upload them to the web. But as a healthcare worker, we must be careful not to upload images that contain patients' information. There are several examples of HIPAA social media cases that have resulted in disciplinary action against the offenders. One of the cases that I can mention it has to do with Kim Kardashian and the Cedar Sinai Medical Center. When she came in to the hospital to have her baby, 6 employees decided to look into her files and disclose information that she was at the hospital that night and she had had her baby. As a result, the 6 employees were fired, and Cedar Sinai got fined with severe amount of money. The second case has to do with Torrance Memorial Hospital. One of the anesthesiologists decided to take a picture of a patient under anesthesia. And before the picture, him along with another coworker painted the face of the patient with a mustache and some tears coming out of her eyes. The patient under anesthesia happened to be also a worker at Torrance Memorial. After they painted the face, the the coworker in the OR took the picture of the patient and posted the picture on the website. They were thinking that this action will be funny, and they didn't think much of it. However, this resulted on the anesthesiologist being suspended. The coworker who took the picture was fired from the hospital, and the patient that was under anesthesia, she couldn't return to work because there was too much stress associated with the situation. Most recently, we had a student case at one of our local community college for the X-ray program. He decided to record a patient that was combative in the emergency room, and one of the nurses noticed that he was recording while the nurses were trying to stabilize the patient. So, needless to say, the student got dismissed from the program, and he can no longer finish his career through the community college. But what is considered a HIPAA violation on social media is posting individual identifiable health information without written authorization. If there is an authorization form, It must inform the subject what the disclosure is for it and explain the right to revoke it. Additionally, the subject should have the option to specify a time period after which the disclosure must end. So, is Facebook HIPAA compliant? No, it's not. At this time, Facebook is not accepting any information or post or pictures that contain medical information. Um, they don't accept anything that is related to medical conditions. What is a HIPAA compliant social media policy then? It's a policy that stipulates the circumstances under which it is allowed to post any information on social media. And it's very important because social media posts can never be fully retracted. And it's best to prohibit any post containing individually identifiable health information just to avoid any sanctions. So, what is it that you need to know about social media and HIPAA? Posting PHI on social media is only allowed if you have written authorization from the subject of the PHI. However, once posted, you have no control over what happens to it. If the subject wants to revoke the authorization, you cannot comply because you have no control over who has seen the post or made copies of it. So, what happens if I post a picture of a patient, but it doesn't have any demographics on it or anything that can identify the patient? Well, it is a breach of the HIPAA privacy rule if the identity of the individual can be determined from the image. However, there is no violation of the HIPAA privacy rule if the patient has given written authorization and the post is following the guidelines of the authorization. So, what happens if my organization doesn't have a social media policy? Well, still, posting PHI on social media is a breach of the privacy rule. Hospitals can be fined for such a violation even if they don't have a policy established. Moreover, employees and hospitals both can be fined if an employee has access to patient information that is unprotected. So, what are the penalties for social media HIPAA violations? They can go from large amounts of money to actually losing the contract. For example, hospitals can be fined severe amounts of money, and the employee can be terminated or lose their license. So, who needs to be trained on HIPAA social media rules? Everybody, even those employees that don't have direct contact with um, patient care, should be trained on HIPAA violations because even though they don't have direct access to the patient, they can still disclose information regarding the condition of the patient. So, what are some of the steps to avoid HIPAA violations? Proper training of the organization's social media policies, discussing such sanctions policies with the employees, and implementation and measurements to prevent future disclosures of PHI are among some of the measurements that can avoid violations. For this presentation, I use resources from the article called HIPAA and Social Media Guidelines, another article called Cedar Cyanide Experiences Celebrity Patient Data Breach, Surgery Photo Leads to a Privacy Lawsuit Against Torres Memorial Hospital from the LA Times, and some of the pictures from this presentation are from Canva platform, along with some of my pictures of my own collection. This concludes my presentation. I hope you have enjoyed and learned some information from this presentation. Thank you very much.